There just wasn't enough hours in the day today, buddy. Oh, sorry. What? What profile? What? What did you do? Break it. I don't even know what profile you're talking about. I mean, how do you link the name? You go to user settings, you go to my account, and you click on the three dots, and then you copy your user ID. Also, you're muted, I guess. Chat saying. So am I just fucking talking and they're hearing me?
Squire is talking into the void.
I'm talking into the void. Oh fuck! Jesus Christ, Pressa. Can you like start one stream like not fuck?
No, I did that on purpose. I thought that was funny.
God damn it! See, when you do it on purpose, buddy, it's not the same. You gotta like unintentionally fuck up. It's like holy hell. Also, I just now realized you have the Ashton like Gunt, whatever the fuck he's doing, the belly slam thing. I didn't even know you had that.
Oh yeah, I got it
Oh
all.
fuck. So how's the chat doing? How is everyone doing? It's been a crazy day for me at least.
Been a crazy day.
This coach shit, man, really threw me off. Like it was just like, what the hell? Coach just like GTA style stole a fucking motorcycle and was like getting shot at by like the Ukrainian military trying to cross the border. Oh man. It's wild. Freaking wild.
It is wild.
So what's the show about tonight, buddy? I've been completely busy. I don't know what's going on.
Prelude for the show. We're going to be doing a little interview with Ralph on his history with AF. We'll start at the beginning. We'll go to the end. We'll try to learn all the deep lore and try to get to the bottom of what exactly AF is. You know? Get a feel for Ralph's experience.
Ask him if he was in the Catboy compound.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, what it was like meeting all the undercover gay guys. Did any of them come on to him?
Did Ralph ever have a run-in with a Fed? Because we know Nick has like 50
federal agents.
Feds surrounding him. Especially at, what was it, Stop the Steal in Phoenix? He literally had like 5 or 6 like Fed bodyguards.
I don't really know how Nick thought he was going to get away with it. I mean, Ralph has humiliated Nick a few times, so I don't really know how he thought he was going to.
I guess he forgot about his like first, or I don't know if it was necessarily his first interaction with Ralph, but that stream on Warski Live when him and Ralph went at it, and Ralph brought up his ex lesbian sister.
Yeah. Also, another Mel.
There's lots of Mels. There's lots of Mels in the sector. It's weird.
He likes the chocolate sin. You know what I mean?
I wonder if Coach has partaken in his hobby with that Mel.
Do you think
was it one of those things? You know, it was one of those things that was keeping Coach going in that Ukrainian prison. You know, he's making those tributes
to Mel Fuentes and Melanie and Mel Warski too. Mel
yeah, Mel Perez. Yeah.
We know Coach is attracted to Warski's system.
Well, I mean, yeah. That's what was keeping him going, buddy. How
does the audience feel about Coach? Do you think, 1, if you think Coach will escape Ukraine, 2, if you think Coach is fucked and he's going to a prison camp?
I don't know. I honestly think Coach is already like over the border. He's like in some safe house. It's run by like the CIA.
Coach is pretty wily, so we'll see what happens.
You can't underestimate the guy, you know. He's made it this far, and he was a pretty cool cucumber for being some guy that was literally getting shot at.
Yeah.
Stole a motorcycle. Like, he's just, you know.
Coach going full 007.
I can't wait for the book, because he's going to write a book about this, and then, you know, screw his supporters out of another $70,000, and
yeah,
send the book to like 4 people, and that's
Ralph
it.
will be joining us shortly. He just had to eat something.
Yeah, I fucking streaming all day and not eating, you know, like, I don't know how he does it.
Well, he's a little earlier than us. You know, I think it's 3 hours. He's 3 hours behind. It's only 7 o'clock over there.
I mean, Ralph is literally hardest working man in the sector, buddy.
It's true.
Hands down.
I had to settle for some cereal. Somewhere in between.
Cereal, buddy.
Somewhere in between working all day and then just getting right on Ralph's stream, I had to settle for a little bowl of cereal. That was my whole meal today.
See, chat, I'll let you in on a secret. Those guys that were torturing Coach in prison, they weren't torturing him for the money. They were torturing him for that Knoxville footage. You know.
I think so.
Well, I know because I sent them.
Yeah. The 4K. 4K.
I want that 4K drone footage, buddy. You know, you want to get out of there. You send me that footage, I'll get you out of there, buddy.
4K sex footage between Pinecone and Warski from the closet.
Oh God, that's vile. That's vile, buddy. No one wants to see that shit. You know, the sad part is Warski probably would still hit that.
Yeah.
Even now, even she looks like a fucking circus freak. He'd still hit it.
You think so?
Oh yeah, that's true, Sigma. It could have been for Wilshire Boulevard. Although I'm pretty sure there's like a black market copy of that somewhere out on the internet. Because a couple people did get copies. So I'm sure there is a copy somewhere out there that. Yeah, on his fucked laptop that you can't access.
Godwinson did, yes. Supposedly JF got one. and Ricada. We will see.
One of them is gonna have to give it up.
None of them can produce it, of course. I'm eating gummy bears.
Why eating gummy bears, buddy? This is like a serious interview. The fuck?
You say.
Oh man, what else has happened today besides Coach making his miraculous escape? I mean, that was amazing. You know, but
other things.
I haven't really been keeping up with things. Like Mondays for me are like my busiest days. So
for everybody,
I haven't really keeping up.
My body hurts. I'm very tired, but I'm drinking some coffee now.
Or are you like picking up boulders or some shit? Or are you doing the Matt Jarbo today, buddy?
Sure.
Oh, the snaking of a lane. That was a pretty epic stream earlier.
It was a great stream. I have no comment. Great stream, no comment on any of it. Yeah.
I just love the whatever it is. I just love it.
Yeah. No comment. Godwinson is my brother. That's all I got to say about it. Let's see what else. Let's see here. Last night, if you missed it, which is very possible if you missed it, I joined Salvo for his return stream for about a half an hour. That was fascinating. Discussion with Michael Alberto.
Michael Alberto.
About him getting literally whisked off in a jet to meet AF. And Nick just constantly complaining about everybody in his life and then falling asleep on a table at a Denny's. So Michael Alberto's most interesting story is he was at a breakfast with Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes literally lost consciousness for like 3 minutes. Just fell asleep with his face on the table. Fascinating.
I just liked how he was pretending like he had no idea why Nick was so interested in him. And it was pretty clear that it was
I
because
think
of what
he's got some naivete there.
I'll have to. I think I have the clip somewhere where Nick was first watching the iceberg video and was just like, yeah, he was like low key kind of hitting on him and shit. It was really weird.
Him up and down, saying, "Ooh, very."
It's like, all right, I like it. I like how he looks.
Physique. You know.
He said some shit like that. Although he did shit on his. He shit on something. I forget what he didn't like. I think it was the hair. I don't think he liked the hair or some shit. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I watched that clip. I'll just see if I have it still.
Yes, Jacuzzi. Yes, I don't ban anybody from the chat. My chat is free reign. So if they want to go nuts, I let them go nuts. Say whatever they want. I always found chat to be much more fun when people fight in the chat too. It's very uneven. Okay, I'll turn myself up. I like it when people fight my chat. That's one of my favorite things I used to do is go in everybody's chat and fight with people, and I used to have a lot of fun with that stuff. I mean, the questions are completely retarded, but, you know, it's whatever. They're apparently very engaged. I mean, you know, you could say a lot about how do you feel about Grace? Why?
Like.
No, I know you're not saying to. I know you're not saying to ban them. I'm just telling you how I run them. There are no mods in the
chat. What aspect of Grace would you like me to discuss?
Would you fuck Grace? Let's start out with the nitty gritty.
Yeah, but I wouldn't give her my address or my real name or my real phone number or anything real. That's a one and done.
Yeah, well, of course.
Oh, check the thing. He needs a link.
I don't know how to give a link. But just add me and I'll.
This is gonna be a disaster.
Okay, I know what I could do. Hold on. I know exactly what to do. We've been doing this for a long time, Squire.
We have?
Yeah.
This is my first stream, buddy. I have no idea what's going on.
I'm just gonna create a Discord. Get in there, Squire.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the
That
fuck
works,
is
right?
that?
You could just click on that and go there.
You don't have access to this link. What did you just send me, buddy? That looks like some fucking bad shit. No, you. There you go.
Well, that's how do I do an external one?
You mean just make a group? Oh god. Yeah, Persif is breaking out Skype. You know, shockingly, I've never used Skype before.
I have.
Not
I used
even
to
once.
use it for 100,000 years. With them all.
It's already a disaster, buddy. Now we can get the cups and the string, buddy. That might work too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out, Squire. I figured this was going to be a little scuff here.
Squire confirmed new fag. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know anything. I'm not like Gator. Gator knows
my
everything.
problem-solving skills are legendary. Okay.
What do you mean? You just ask me, and then I tell you how to fix it.
Well, yeah, that's why they're legendary.
Oh. I used Skype to talk to girls when I was 18. Yeah, that's what everyone used Skype for, I've noticed. I was like AOL Instant Messenger, buddy. That was my jam.
Yeah, I had that too. I told the story of
Well,
why
we know you had that. Oh, fuck. Yeah, AOL Instant Messenger, man. Oh, that was the shit back in the day.
Yeah, I had that. I had AIM. I was using AOL before there even was an AIM. It was, you had to like literally go on the AOL website.
Oh, you mean the fucking dial-up? Oh, yeah.
Link on Twitter.
Or send it on Twitter, maybe. I think we just need to figure out how to use Telegram, buddy, I guess.
Okay.
It's these fucking Russians, man.
Well, I added him, so he's just got to...
Yeah, he's finishing up his torta.
Poor Ralph, he's like fucking starving. Of course.
Well, you know what he needs to do? He needs to do a Feasting with the King segment, like what DSP does.
Yeah. Well, I told him eat live on stream. People enjoy that.
People would love to see the torta, you know. The legendary tortas, man. I've actually never had a torta before, but I've heard they're pretty damn good. Yeah, we're waiting for Ralph chat.
We're waiting for
Ralph. Sound the feasting horn. Not to be confused with the Feezer horn.
Feezer horn. What's Feezer up
to? Prostrating himself, begging to be on Cozy. Like a sniveling little worm. It's kind of rough, man. Like, I don't know what he's thinking. Like, that's a really bad move. Unless he's, like, trying to do some weird-ass 4D chess where he's gonna, like, steal the movement from Nick.
He
I don't
wants
think
to
that's
be
going to
on
happen,
the throne. He wants some Cowboys, bro.
buddy. No one's going to be sitting on that fucking iron throne of AF except for Nick himself.
He
will
wants to
die
sit on the
fucking
back
throne.
of Catboy Cammy and be
Oh,
escorted around
no.
by cross-dressing trannies and
Oh, God.
you know,
That's horrifying to think.
Cammy throne. Cammy literally on his hands and knees, but these are on his back, carrying him around. That's what secretly goes on in Nick's establishment. You have to know that. Fuentes dressed as Caesar. Let's see. Come on,
it wouldn't be a Scuffed Express without everything being scuffed to shit.
The problem is I can't send my ID because I'm on live stream. It keeps blocking me from sending. Squire, give me your ID. I'll send it to Ralph. Just add him in.
It's literally just my name.
Yeah, well, I keep sending that to Ralph, but he doesn't seem to.
Oh, is your friend requesting like fucked?
Yeah, it's pending, but I don't think you can see it.
Oh. Why does everything have to be like fucked? Or just send them the link to the shit cord, buddy.
I did, but he said he can't get it to open, right? Oh, here we go.
Oh, is he in there?
All right, yeah. I'm going to add us all to a group call.
Okay. Oh, it's going to be a group call. All right.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Ralph.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ralph.
Yeah.
I thought I might have to adjust the Discord settings, but yeah.
I know Discord's a major pain in the ass, though. I don't blame you for struggling with it. I struggle with it all the time.
Well, I got banned from there so many times. I just actively don't use it on purpose now, just to be a stubborn asshole because they fucked with me so many times. But yeah,
it's the only thing I know how to use. I mean, I should learn how to use Telegram, really, so I could do easier call-ins. But everybody's too afraid to call into my show, so I can't figure that out. But
they're shook, man. They're shook. Am I going on camera, by the way? I don't care.
no, you don't need to go. I figure it's easier.
Okay,
I'm a sweaty fucking mess anyway. I've been working all day, and then I literally got home and got on your stream.
I know. Well, it was an epic, news event. By the way, if Beef Ravioli is still listening, he sent $100 on Cash App like 10 minutes before I ended the show, and I was too busy singing Billy Joel to fucking see it. So my apologies there, and I'll acknowledge him tomorrow. I sent out a tweet. I feel bad when that happens, especially if it's $100. I was like, fuck, damn. I'm not Nick Fuentes. I got a $100 donation. I want to make an acknowledgement there, and so I was like, damn it. I saw it while I was at the tortoise shop, so shout out to him. Very kind and very well supported, and I'm blessed. So thank you.
Yes, very kind. $100. Jeez, he liked your singing, Ralph. Apparently,
I think that's what it was. The Billy Joel put it over the top. Yeah. So
yeah.
It's funny that somebody mentioned that because I'd actually thought about that song in relation to a person. But anyway, go ahead and let me turn this light off since I'm not going to be on air or not on camera.
Yeah, you could chill out. You could relax a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. See, people don't understand. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they're like, I think you were more persuasive in that interview you did with Jord than you were on your show because you were like more relaxed and more chill. And I'm like, well, I mean, I was a guest, right? So on my own show, I feel the need to like be a little bit of the hype man too. But yeah, usually when I'm a guest, I'm a lot more chill. So.
Now, have you ever met Squire? I don't believe you've ever met Squire or talked to Squire.
I don't believe so. I've talked to him.
Actually, we have once.
Really?
If you remember the Chatelet Strangler stream.
Oh yeah, that was
a
Killstream Classic. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I was the guy that called in and was like, "Yeah, here's his like real Instagram account. Here's all this weird shit he was liking." And then Gator was like, Oh yeah, that's that chick from that anime who was also strangled to death that he posted. I was like, of course you would know, Gator.
He
Fuck.
knew right off. Now that you mentioned,
Yeah.
I remember that. And yeah, that was one of the crazy streams, and we had just thought things had kind of cooled down, and then like this Sargon fan, and I'm not trying to start shit back up with Sargon, by the way, but this Sargon. This Sargon fan, like, would he choke his mom to death or some shit? I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
so he literally killed his mother and had two of his friends help him like dispose of the body. Like for real.
Yeah, it was like a really serious story, and we turned it into like the joke of the century. Did like a 4-hour laughathon about it, which I guess is kind of fucked up now that I think about it. But it was fun, I gotta say. So thank you for that. Yeah, you did refresh my memory there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the only time I ever called in because I was just like, oh fuck, I gotta tell these guys because they're missing out on all this lore that I literally uncovered like maybe like 30 minutes prior.
Well, it's funny because we wouldn't have seen that maybe the next day or something, and we ended up pulling up the anime where the bitch gets choked out, and we had that on the screen, and then we played the Chatelet Strangler song in the background, the Chatelet or whatever, and we were singing and dancing to that. We're kind of sick people now that I think about it, but.
Well, what was crazy was like a bunch of shit came out afterwards where like he was literally like wanting to troon out and he thought he was like bisexual and all this weird shit.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just the Sargon aspect. There was all kinds of mental illness going on with that kid.
But, yeah, it was pretty deep actually. And I mean, it's really a sad story, but
it's a terrible story.
Yeah. It's fucked. It's really fucked, because but anyways, we're not here about all that. We're here about what's been going on with AF.
Yes. So I figure we'll do what hasn't been done before. Let's do like a chronology here. So chronological, your relationship with Nick and AF. Now, me and Squire were talking about this before we started the stream. And the first appearance that we could remember between you and Nick was on Warski Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you had the showdown about his sister, if I remember right.
That's right, but that wasn't the first time we met, actually. The first time we met or talked to each other was on what became colloquially known in the Killstream catalog as the Baked Alaska experience. That evening where we were sniping Baked Alaska, and it was a wild night for him.
Oh yeah, with him and Allsip, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll get to that, but Jim had kind of cranked up the heat on him, I guess, a couple days prior, and then, back then it was like, well, Jim's going at him, all right,
yeah,
right, and so I wrote an article about it, and then we started the kill stream. It was only 3 days a week back then. We'd upped it from 1 day a week. To kind of compete in the blood sports scene. And I was like, 3 is probably enough. And so we covered him, and over the night, basically we started out with a couple hundred viewers. And by the end, we had over 1,000. And the numbers had flipped from his stream to our stream. And we kind of covered all that pressure that people were putting on him. And it was a wild night. Chaggett was there. Chaggett made his debut. Nick Fuentes came on the stream. And then James Alsop came on the stream. First time I talked to either one of those guys. And I didn't know this, by the way, at the time, but they had been ex-partners. And I think their show was called America First, actually, now that I think about it, but I'm not sure. And they had a falling out. And Alsop said this guy fucked me over or whatever. So they ended up having an impromptu blood sports that people have been trying to set up for months. I didn't know this, by the way. But people have been trying to set this up for months, and it just happened on the kill stream. And then we all sat there and watched Baked Alaska, basically. I would argue kind of made fun of me. It was tough. I like Baked now, so it's kind of tough for me to enjoy some of those memories, but we kind of did go in on him. It definitely established the kill stream as a brand. Yeah. And the next day, I've told this story. I'll just tell this real quick. I started the stream and there were 900 people there. Very quickly to learn about Chaggett's history, and that's kind of when I knew that I'd made it. So, yeah.
I do remember that whole arc. I do remember the baked arc. I'm pretty sure he was with Ashton Birdie at the time. She was having colossal meltdowns. Is that when they were doing the crossovers with Ice Poseidon at his house?
No, that was a little bit later,
That's a little bit
couple
later.
months later, and then that's how Corinne ended up. She called me
Yeah,
the
they
other day. I wanna
stole
call
they
her back.
stole her iPad or whatever.
They
I
stole
remember.
Corinne's iPad, and that's how she's a legacy character on the show. We could probably get her back on. She wanted to come on and talk about AF, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a good.
Yeah, let her go. Just let her go.
If you want to turn some people to AF, that might be a good idea. But she's like, oh, glad you glad you're finally talking about this. I'm like, okay, thanks, Corinne. But yeah. By the way, shout out to Goblino in chat. Suck my dick, bitch, and choke on it. But yeah, thank you for having me on today's
Yes.
podcast.
Well, the chat is shitting on him nonstop, and I love
Yeah, I know.
fighting. I love fighting in the chat.
Yeah,
You
I
have
know.
no
Don't
idea.
ban him. No, don't take him out. No.
No, I love him.
I love. No, I love looking down and seeing shit like that. Honestly,
I love
why
the
somebody.
fight.
Yeah, well, somebody got removed earlier, and I was like, guys, you didn't have to actually take him out. I was just fucking with, like. But yeah, my mods are a little more bloodthirsty.
Well, I don't have any
But-
mods. I just let them all loose.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
the Medicare approach. Yeah, I do have mods, but I'm trying to loosen up a little bit as far as that goes. Kind of try to bring back the old spirit of the kill stream. But yeah, that was the first time I saw him was on the Baked Elastic stream, and then we had a falling out. I guess he had liked some shit that was anti me, basically. And then I saw that, or somebody put my eyes on it, or whatever, told me about it, and then we had a falling out. And that Worski Live kind of immortalized it, I guess. People can still go back and watch that. It's up on Odyssey and some other places. But then a couple days later, maybe, Beardson contacted me and said, you both are going to be around for a while, and you should settle this and just put it behind you. So I went on the Weekly Sweat, actually, I guess that's Saturday. And we just like buried the hatchet or whatever. Although you could tell he wasn't very happy about it. But I buried the hatchet anyway because I was just like, I got too much shit going on. I got too many enemies and too much. I don't really want to start this up, really. Let's just wheel that back into the garage. And so that was how that kind of finished up there. And then you can ask me more about the timeline, but that was the early timeline.
Out of curiosity, when did you meet Beardson?
I knew Beardson
another guy that's been around
years
forever.
previously. I would say probably about 2015, maybe.
Wow.
Beardson was on Twitter.
So
yeah,
prime Gamergate time.
Yeah, he was involved in Gamergate a little bit. And then so I knew him from that era, and we'd had some back and forth too, but we were friends. And so I knew Beardson for a long time through Gamergate and through Trump and all that stuff. So I'd known him for quite some time, and him dunking on e-whores or whatever on Twitter. So I knew Beardson way before that, and so he kind of brokered that, and I was like, oh yeah, good idea, and that's how that went.
Right, he was Nick was an up and comer then. So let's talk about then. Let's fast forward then, all the way to Stop the Steal. Like, when did you seriously start being approached for AF?
So I'll say that he came on the show a couple times after, and he was on the heel stream, and I think we might have done a debate or something, but he wasn't on a lot, and my show was gargantuan compared to his at the time, and I didn't really think that much of him. I remember making fun of his thumbnails because every single thumbnail was the same, and I was like, this is just weird. Although now that I have to do my own thumbnails, it's not as weird. But anyway,
I'm lazy as fuck with the thumbnails. I'm so fucking lazy.
Yeah. So anyway, he'd been on the show a few times after, and the heel stream was a classic show too. But anyway,
it was.
Yeah, and that was epic. He came on and sang Ram Ranch with everybody, although he kept singing long after everyone else stopped, which was kind of strange. But I'm not kidding, by the way. If you check the tape, somebody suggested I pull that up. But anyway, I Stop the Steal happened, and there was a huge rally in DC, and I lived in Richmond, Virginia at the time, which is about 2-3 hours away, depending on the traffic. 4 hours, depending on the traffic.
This was this Stop the Steal, or was this an anti-vax rally?
No, this was Stop the Steal. Although I did go to one of his anti-vax rallies too, but this was Stop the Steal, and it was November 10th, I think, something like that, or 12th, 2020. I went to DC. I wasn't really AF. I mean, I was never really fully AF, even though there's a couple pictures of me with the hat on or whatever. But I never tried to like politic inside the organization or be a like a full part of it. I would say more of a AF adjacent or
Right.
a supporter. Although the longer that went on, the more that drifts into you're basically part of it. All right, we can get into that later. But I went to that rally, filmed a bunch of stuff. My stream ended up being one of the only streams you could watch from there because everybody else's phone went down because they mostly had Verizon and I had T-Mobile, and for some reason T-Mobile was just killing it that day, and so I got like 5,000 or 6,000 people watching that stream. And so that started out to Stop the Steal, and I saw it was huge. There was like 500,000 people there or more, and it was just a gigantic rally. And I thought, well, I need to start covering this.
So that was with Pantsu, and was Hassel there too, if I remember vaguely? Was Frank Hassel also?
Yeah,
at
he
that
was in
rally?
Atlanta. Yeah, he was in Atlanta. So was Jay Dyer. So I went to Stop the Steal in Atlanta, Phoenix, of course, DC, as I mentioned, although I didn't go on January 6th because I was on bail, thank God.
Yeah.
So what? Atlanta, Phoenix, Harrisburg, and I think there's one more that I forgot about. But yeah, I was all over the country with this. Of course, my now estranged wife, then just my girlfriend, Pantsu, was with me. I mean, the time period still means a lot to me just because we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
But that's kind of when we like fully, I would argue, kind of fell in love. And, we traveled all over the country filming this stuff. And
Yeah.
I was swatted in Phoenix and they came in. And
Didn't you also go to Vegas too? Wasn't there also a big
no,
meetup in
but
Vegas?
well, I did a meetup in Vegas, but that was later on. And Pay was with us too. That's right.
Yes,
Shout out to
Pay
Pay.
was
Yeah,
there.
Pay was there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Those
So,
IRL streams were great. Those were fucking amazing streams.
Pay was
they
looking.
were
I know
really
people-
great.
You
Pay
know, the
was
A-Log
looking
shit
very
on them, but
sexy,
those
yeah.
were fucking great. Those were great streams.
Those were fun, and my wife did look very good in those streams, and we had a lot of fun with that, and it's kind of a memorable time. And I guess that's when I got a little bit closer to the AF orbit because I was traveling all over the country, and those guys were there at most of the stops. So
Right.
that's kind of how that happened.
I-
Got a little bit closer. Yeah.
I remember I remember starting to notice the closeness in Arizona remember there was the Q Shaman was there,
Yeah.
and all those guys were there, and I noticed that you were starting to be accepted into the a bit of the inner circle. You were welcome.
Yeah, a little bit, and also it's because I was filming some great stuff, right? And I was right there, and I was kind of like almost the house cameraman in a lot of ways. Of course, I was doing streams and getting support and stuff too. But if you look at a lot of those photos, I'm right there next to Fuentes filming,
Yes.
especially Atlanta. Some of those famous photos from Atlanta, I'm standing right there next to him filming. In Phoenix, I was standing right there next to him when he's arguing with Q Shaman. I'm right there, like I'm right there in the middle of all that. And yeah, that's kind of when I guess I got a little bit closer and kind of let myself drift into more pro AF versus like being neutral, you know what I mean? And I'd had a ton of wignats, so to speak,
Yeah.
on the show. And I get, looking back, I think that's when I started drawing a little bit closer. And maybe it was the time with my now estranged wife and all that maybe I just had good feelings for that time as well. Thinking about it psychologically, that might have had something to do with it. And so yeah, but that's when it was Stop the Steal, and I was all over the country filming that.
I do remember, and then there was the anti-vax rally after all of Stop the Steal stuff. Because
that was
that's
in
when
Springfield.
things really changed. I noticed that it was basically like, because that was when the grand snaketing on CWC happened, and they were booing him, and he showed up in a Dick Tracy.
Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. He showed up dressed like a film noir character,
Yeah.
and bizarre, although snazzy, I have to say,
Yeah,
but
snazzy.
bizarre. But so I was on D Live at the time, and we ended up getting banned, of course. But I was on D Live when I brought him on the show, and I was like, I need a groiper for the show, basically,
Right.
just from a programming standpoint. This is a very, maybe a little bit of a craven thing to admit in public, but I was like, you know what? I need to add some kind of younger groiper voice to the show to pull in viewers from that segment, right? And so I just happened to see I literally just happened to see one of his streams on one night. He didn't really have that many viewers. He's back at 5 years now for a reason, but I built him into a thing and put him on the show, and he was getting like 150, 200 viewers when he was on my show.
Yes.
And I kind of built him up and put him on the show and made him a thing. Although you could tell he started getting more, drifting and talking shit towards me, and we got into some fights here and there. But he messaged me. He had a falling out with, I guess, Beardson and Baked, and I don't know if it was Nick in general, but he messaged me and said, "Should I go to Springfield, Illinois, which is where this anti-vax rally was going to be at?" And I said, "Yeah, if you're gonna apologize, right? Because it was a big thing at the time, and they wanted him to apologize." And I was like, "Yeah, if you're gonna apologize and break bread, that'd be good." Well, he went there, didn't apologize, and ends up getting shouted down. And if you see me, I'm kind of just like Homer Simpson in the meme, like kind of just like drifting back on that.
You were looking around. You didn't really know what to do. I didn't
They
expect that they were
mogged
going to go that hard on
They
him.
completely mogged him. It was amazing.
Yeah, they did. It was brutal. It was brutal, but I think he expected me to like save him or something.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yes,
I should.
he did.
He did. He kept looking at you with like puppy eyes.
He's a grown
No,
man.
He did though. He felt like he was eternally angry at me after that because I didn't do anything to stop it. He kept coming up trying to like talk to me and shit after, which I talked to him, but I was also like, don't drag me into this, right? This is not my thing. And so he was kind of ostracized there, etc. And I don't think he really ever forgave me for that. But I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. But yeah, it was in Springfield, Illinois, and all that shit happened. And Nick gave a speech. It wasn't very good, really. And the tech was all fucked up.
It didn't make any sense. He talked about plastic in the drinking water and all kinds of stuff.
Was that the rally with all like the old like crippled people?
Yes. That was all the old Q people.
It was so weird. It was like all these old Q boomers, and then all of a sudden Nick comes up, and it was just jarring.
Ralph couldn't help but laugh at this. This old lady comes up, and she starts singing the Star Spangled Banner. And it was like the most hideous thing you could ever hear.
Did you see? You saw my live commentary.
Oh, well, yeah, I watched it live, Rob.
Yeah, I watched that too. That was a great stream.
Well, thank you guys, but I bit my tongue until she came. Like, there were some cringe moments already, but when she came out and sang the national anthem, like, I started roasting her on the stream because it's like, it's classic when somebody fucks up the national anthem. So I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And you can hear me like making jokes and talking shit finally. So yeah, it was just a disaster of a rally. I don't know if he appreciated me having this all recorded for posterity. Actually, now that I think about it, but
I mean,
they tried to broadcast it live, but they couldn't because their tech was all fucked up. So I was like the only one broadcasting it live. I think.
Yeah, he blamed that all on Simon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, who hired Simon? Yeah,
he hired Simon. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's never his fault, no matter what happens. And he never lifts a finger to stop things. You've seen what's happened to Paul the last couple of days. And look, you cannot like Paul. I know a lot of people who don't like him, and I understand that. But like,
I don't know anything about him, really. To be honest.
Well, I'm just saying he's been getting roasted by the cozy people and the other cozy streamers. This is a thing that Nick could stop, like just with one word, basically, or a couple words.
He likes
and he could literally stop it. No, he likes it though, and he could have stopped this. I think he organized the things that happened to me in Florida, but he could have stopped all that very easily. Didn't and doesn't, and that's just his leadership style or lack thereof. And that's not a leader, and that's not how you get things done. And that's why he's had so many, like, just epic fallouts or whatever. Is because not that I haven't had some myself, but like. He's leading an organization, right? You're trying to build a coalition, literally, for political reasons, and you can't say a couple words or squelch this fire, or you know what I mean? Like it's just.
I think he likes it because he feels in control. When people are
I think
fighting,
so too.
They're fighting for him, and he likes it.
Well,
it's like a weird power trip.
It's a power trip, and the stuff with Baked Alaska, of course, he egged that on and encouraged that. And it's like, look, you already had a falling out. You already disavowed him, basically. Said, fuck this guy.
Well, that was the other person who was streaming from that event was Baked. Was the only other person with successful tech that was streaming from that event was Baked.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Baked was there streaming too. I forgot. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, Baked taped, you and Baked both taped Beardson getting almost beaten the fuck out of by that the soccer mom.
Yeah, that woman was gonna slap the shit out of him, actually.
Yeah,
And
then
she
you can
coulda
see he
took him,
got
too.
real. You can see he got real nervous. She got real close, and all of a sudden, Beardson got real nervous. She was bigger than he was. It was
Yeah, she
kind
was
of
like
She
a
literally
foot
would have
taller
kicked his
than that.
ass. She was taller. She was about 2 or 3 times as wide. And he was about to be in trouble. Yeah, and
got really nervous.
that was his fault. He started that up with that old bitch. And some people aren't going in the real world, right?
Yeah.
And so he kind of meekly got mogged like CWC got mogged basically by this woman.
Yeah,
And
it was poetic justice.
and that was I think May or something, spring or early summer 2021. So that would be the timeline there, I believe.
We were doing the casino. I don't. Were we doing the casino square? Or was that a year before the casino?
I think that was before.
I remember
Yeah, that
cutting
was
that up.
before.
Maybe I cut that up for Godwinson. I don't remember really, honestly. I remember clipping all of that though.
Yeah, I know I have
We
clips
put
of that
together
somewhere,
a
too.
show for that. I don't remember what exactly we did with it, but that's a problem with doing all this stuff. I don't really remember anymore exactly what we did with any of this stuff, if we even used it or. But I do remember watching it all live. Okay, so.
Oh, shoot. That hot sauce, God, that habanero sauce is hot. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah,
habanero. Voice box. There. Go ahead.
Yeah, habanero will fuck you up, buddy.
So,
holy shit.
okay, so you got close with AF because you were covering all their live events. Now, how much of a part did getting deplatformed from D Live have to do with it? Because D Live deplatformed everybody from after January 6th. I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
like, all the political
they took
people
everyone out.
Got taken out by like the Indian owner had enough.
What they did was they took out Nick Fuentes, Baked Alaska, Wooza, several other people. They didn't take me out on the first wave, but they took me out 2 weeks later, and I was hosting a debate between Ramsey Paul and Captain Tazariak.
Okay.
And so what happened was Tazariak was on there, and he said the N-word, and he said a couple other things, and we were on a really short leash at that time at D Live, and they pulled me during the middle of the debate. They pulled my channel and deleted it, or banned it or whatever. And so during the middle of the show, during the middle of the debate, I go to Trovo like I went to Stream.me and D Live before, like during the middle of the show.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got to Trovo, and we finished up the show. And of course, Trovo ended up being even worse than D Live in a lot of ways. And they eventually kicked us off, and they still suck dick to this day. But
I remember that, yeah. And everybody was wondering, where is Ralph going to go next? Because you were already like, it was from Stream.me, right? And then you went to D Live.
Yep.
And then you went to Trovo, and I think you tried Smashcast or something. You tried a few. What was the other one?
There was a few. There was a Africat, which is a Korean streaming website, which is not that great, but it's like, look, I don't know what I'm gonna have to use. So there was a couple, and then Odyssey came up, and I got to be friends with the guy who was running Odyssey, and so I started streaming over there. And they eventually offered me a contract, which I turned down. It was like $30,000 a year, and then I would also get to keep all my super chats on top of that, which is how I really get paid. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is great. And I was gonna do that, but Cozy.tv came along, and I saw a lot of people I know over there. I knew over there, and I saw Fuentes and all this shit. So I asked for a Cozy channel, and I remember getting it, and I was just using it a little bit at first, and then it worked really well. And so gradually I just started restreaming the kill stream over there, even though I wasn't really supposed to do that. It was supposed to just be like a side project channel. And some people, Angling, a couple others, basically convince me to go to Cozy and not take the deal with Odyssey. So, and at the time, I understand, right? Like it was easier to sell me on something like that, and I could see the logic behind it. But
Right.
that's how that happened, and eventually, I just stayed on Cozy and made that my main platform, and it had a lot to do with getting deplatformed. There wasn't really a ton of options at the time. Also, I didn't. Odyssey still has problems to this day, but it had way more problems back then too. So it's like I don't know if that's gonna work, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah,
Right.
BitChute was supposed to live stream, that never happened, and so I kind of just decided to stay there on Cozy, and that's how I really fell in, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I just got a notification. I don't even know how to get super chats. I didn't think it was even set up. But Michael Alberto
Yeah,
says
it is.
Strova was the Dark Ages for
It
$5.
was. It was.
And
I
I
would say out
agree
of
with
all
you
my
on that,
runs,
Michael.
yeah.
I don't know how to get
I
the
don't
money, but
even. I don't even remember the Trovo.
I remember
You know,
Trovo.
I
It
barely
was
did.
like 2 or 3
Not because
weeks,
I was
right?
high. Yeah. Not because I was high or drunk. I just barely remember it because I blocked it out of my memory. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there were a couple of decent shows on there, a couple of good runs, but for the most part, very forgettable.
Now, was
And I
it
was like,
true
yeah,
Odyssey had a problem with you streaming on Cozy?
yeah. And I mean, I had sold it as something else. Like, I was just gonna make it my side channel, and I ended up making it like one of my mains. And I shouldn't say this, but the administration there really did not like Nick Fuentes because they had come to him and actually were going to sign him up on Odyssey. I haven't told this before publicly. They were going to sign him up on Odyssey,
Okay.
and they built all this stuff for him, and they were setting up a spot for him, and then he just ghosted them and just completely ghosted them and did his own thing with Cozy. So they hated him for that reason, which I mean, honestly, is a pretty good reason, right? You just ghost the whole fucking staff and the whole Odyssey team after they're building the
Well,
stuff out for you. So yeah, go ahead.
that's why. Now, was Cozy offering people money to stream on there? What was the
No, no, I never got paid from Nick Fuentes ever in my life.
Well,
So.
they never made you pay either, which I suppose. But so, do you think it was a more profitable platform as far as like groupers? I mean, there are a lot of whales there, as we've seen with.
Yeah, I mean that entered my mind. That it's like, well, they have a lot of support. They're talking about politics a lot, kind of like what Fee's saying now, right? Which is it's retarded now, but it's like, well, they have a lot of support. I've been around these guys. I like a lot of these guys. At least I did at the time, and I was like, well, maybe this is just a more natural fit, and so I ended up staying at Cozy. But no, I've never been paid by Nick Fuentes, and I've never paid him. I did pay for my first APAC tickets, but that's it. And
You got
so
robbed. You got robbed, Ralph.
yeah,
They should have
it's
been
true.
paying. I really
I know.
thought that they were giving you some kind of because you were the main traffic to the site. I mean, it's obvious without you there is no traffic. There's nothing. It's like
Well,
nothing.
I didn't know it would gut them like this, but it's
I told you
completely
it would.
gutted them. You
I
did.
told you.
You did. You actually did. That's just funny. But I didn't know. I mean, I've talked about this publicly. I'm not going to go into it all. One day I will.
There's only
But,
so many bots that they could use.
Right. To pump up Fuentes. Well, so, when I got back home after the shock events in Florida, I didn't know how things are going to go really. And, it's still early days, but I think things are going pretty well. But, I remember, having a call and talking to some people, and I didn't really know. I was kind of out into the wilderness again, right? Now things have worked out pretty great so far, but I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew these people were going to try to crush me for one, for sure. But I didn't really know how it would go. Now it's been going great, but at the time I didn't know what was going to happen. But now you look at their schedule. I think their top stream had like 175 people or something earlier. And Cozy's gutted. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And a lot of people left Cozy with me, and they're not coming back.
I mean, almost half of the site left with you.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Maybe even
and
more.
I didn't know. Well, I didn't know it'd be that drastic. Now, maybe some of my advisors did know that.
Yeah, I did. I was
well, you're not the only
confident.
one who told me that, by the way. Yeah, another person was pretty confident in that too. But yeah, it just completely gutted them, and it's because most of their streamers are not that good, just to be quite frank with you, and they don't really know how to hold an audience. And whatever you say about me, and there's some people who don't like me still for sure, but I'm kind of a natural born entertainer, and for better or for worse,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it's for worse in real life, but that's kind of my thing, and especially the longer streams we started getting in the habit of doing, people got used to watching me all day and just hanging out with me through work and through their drive home and stuff. And they don't care if it's on Cozy, right? Like if I'm somewhere else, they're going to go somewhere else. And you saw them, literally leave. Not that some people don't check in here or there, but a lot of people don't. I mean, you can just look at the numbers. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, and you're seeing some of the old heads come back that were like,
right.
"Oh, Cozy," you're kind of getting the old audience back too, which is actually kind of cool to see.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's the thing I didn't realize. Of course, I made some overtures and some moves to like put some beef behind me, and and I think some of that helped for sure. But there were a lot of people who weren't watching simply because I was on Cozy, and I didn't realize that was like a thing that was holding people back, and it really was though. I didn't know that at all. There's so many people who came in and it didn't have anything to do with any apologies or mea culpas that I made. It had to do with I just wasn't on Cozy anymore. Thank God. We wanted to watch your show, but we don't fuck with Cozy.
Right.
I mean, a ton of people told me that. So
well,
I didn't realize
I'll admit that was a major trepidation of mine because I wanted to join you earlier, but I couldn't go on Cozy. Like, Adam can do it because, Godwinson can do it because he's Godwinson.
He's Godwinson, yeah, I was going to
say. But, I couldn't do it because it was like a complete antithesis to who I am as a person. So I couldn't go over there. And I felt like it would hurt you. If I go on your show while you're over there, I knew it would hurt you in the long run. So it didn't really even make sense to me, So I had to be more in the background.
You're probably right about that. And the kill stream is like, I mean, it's several different things. We did the live news event today. We've done debates. We've done all this and that. But at its core, it's it's like a old school radio show, kind of a shock jock radio show, kind of like 90s.
Yeah.
Springer type TV.
It's like Howard Stern meets Limbaugh.
Yes.
It's almost like Howard Stern meets Limbaugh. Yeah.
Yeah, and I take that as very high praise because those are a couple of my broadcasting idols there.
It is high praise.
Well, I thank you for that. It makes me smile. You can't see me right now, but I'm smiling pretty big. But that's what the kill stream's always been. But the longer I stayed on Cozy, the more you feel the creativity being stifled, or I don't want to do this because it might piss some so and so off, or and I was aware of more stuff after I left, but there were a lot of people who were like lobbying against me and trying to fuck with my shit. And I didn't even really realize it at the time, and I've learned some things after. But like bringing Grace Thorpe on, for example, to dance. I know Goblino doesn't like it because he's a loser. But I brought Grace Thorpe on, and a lot of people were pissed.
Yeah,
a lot of people were pissed.
Yeah, they were freaking the fuck out.
They were freaking the fuck out about you bringing Grace on. I couldn't understand it because it's just like, what do you care if you bring Grace on?
It's that weird incel mentality that all these guys have like caked into them.
It's a woman.
Yeah, it was,
and she's fairly Well, that's why they were going crazy, right?
Well, I know. It's funny because they actually like it, you know what I mean? But they don't really want to like it.
Yeah, they can't admit
and
that
so, like it. But that's a classic kill stream thing. Like this debate I'm doing on Friday, where she's going to be the Catholic schoolgirl and Adam Green's going to be dressed up as Jesus Christ. I mean, how much shit do you think I would get for that on Cozy, right?
They would probably ban you for it because they say it was sacrilege. Like they
They
straight
might.
up would.
Well, look. First off, I mean, you could argue that I'm not the one dressed as Jesus, though. It's Adam Green, not me. And then it's the kill stream, right? I want crazy shit like that happening. I want wild events. I want to drop in and this argument's happening, or I jump on this stream arguing with somebody else, and like I've been doing recently and trying to broaden out a little bit, like I used to. I used to pop on streams all the time. I used to be all over the place, and you could just feel yourself. And part of it was me too, right? I can't put all the blame on them, but the longer I stayed there, just the more creatively stifled I felt, and I feel like the show kind of fell into a real rut. Over there, you're kind of encouraged to watch what Nick's doing this day, and he's on Fresh and Fit, and he's on this and that. Well, guess what? I didn't care then, and I don't care now what the fuck he's saying on Fresh and Fit, and I don't give a fuck what he said last night, right? And you're kind of just encouraged to do that either directly or through some people in the chat or other streamers, right? They're all covering it. It's like, fuck.
Well, let's rewind. Let's rewind
sure.
a little bit. Okay.
I'm going to take a bite of torta while you do that. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So now you've left this. It sounds like a pretty lucrative contract, $30,000 on top of all your super chats, which is pretty good money because I know what you make because we could all see it. So you turn down this 30 grand, you go over to Cozy. Okay. You become, Odyssey gets pissed off that you're on Cozy because, it's Nick Fuentes. So now you're on Cozy. You've joined, you're now officially AF. So what?
Well, I would argue that not really. I mean, kind of, but not really, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was AF when they wanted to lean on me or wanted me to trash one of their enemies or whatever.
Right.
But if you'd ever asked Fuentes, he would say he's not AF. And I kind of agree with that a little bit because, like I said, I never got involved with the internal politics there. I never tried to push any ideas or, hey, I don't like this. Why are you saying this, Nick? Maybe I should have, looking back, but because he said some really retarded shit over the last 18 months. But I never did that. I kind of was just there. The cozy hitman, that was a phrase. I'm pretty good at coining phrases. Like
yeah.
Yes.
And stuff like that, which people took as like, they started running with it as like a joke on me, and now everybody calls it the sector. I kind of did turn into that though, right? They sent me Black Swan actually. Sent me RPG/Feasers docs. There was a guy called Anti-Groiper Action that they sent me his docs. Now at the time, I was like, well, these are enemies of ours.
When did it start to shift that you were now big dog on campus? You were the enforcer, basically.
I was the best streamer on the site.
Well,
and the biggest show.
That's no question. Everybody knows. I mean, that's no question.
Well, so it just naturally kind of happened that way, right? Because it's like, well, he's got the top stream on the site, besides Nick, and it just kind of happened that way. I started talking to Black Swan pretty much every day, and I just kind of took on that role. I mean, Beardson called himself the bulldog of the movement or whatever. Most of these people are pussy. Most of these people can't really. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like, I mean, I'm better than most of those people. At attacks, I'm better at entertaining, and so it just kind of happened.
Yeah,
just kind of happened that way. And at the time, I was like, I was happy to pick up the ball and run with it. Looking back, I was getting taken advantage of though, and they were shifting their dirty deeds basically onto me, and that was, I think, an arrangement that they liked quite well. And,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, looking back, I was being taken advantage of. Looking back, I wouldn't have done a lot of those things because it didn't benefit me at all, really. I mean, maybe a good show there, maybe get a little extra cash that day or whatever, but it puts more dirt on your name, basically. And I got enough dirt on my name anyway with my own shit that I've done. And so they were kind of using me as a tank or like a heat shield for a lot of their dirt. And that's something that I fell into. I have to take my blame for that. And, they didn't make me do that, right? That was my own poor judgment. So
interesting. Okay. Because, me and Squire were on the other side, right? So I mean, you know, Beardson was originally like the bulldog, right? But I feel like we immediately let's say that we prepared a lot of material on those guys and they immediately were buck broken. Like immediate. Within weeks, they were completely buck broken. We'd watch their streams. They were like almost in tears.
Right.
Nothing, because I don't know. I felt the material was very light, really. I mean,
most of it was, although not all of it.
I mean, if anything, Beardson's funny. Like when he's like legit playing games and gets angry, it's really funny and enjoyable to watch. Actually,
well,
but
I thought
now
so too.
he's like dead on the end. He's literally like
He's
just a
dead,
hollow husk.
Dude,
And I don't know if we did that to him or what the fuck happened.
Me and
Well, he
Squire
stopped
talk
playing
about
games.
that often. Like, did we
Yeah.
do that after we featured him, or did Nick put a stop to that? Like, I'm not really sure what happened, but all those guys immediately got, like, Dalton immediately got buck broken too. I mean, it was immediate. They even went so far as to flag all my edited videos off of my channel. They flagged every single one off my channel because I did like super cuts of all of their events, and they flagged all of them off my channel.
I mean, you know, I now that you mentioned about Beardson,
But
you know, I
I
used
thought
to be
it was kid gloves. Really?
Well, you know, it was pretty light what you guys did to them. I would argue what was done to me was not necessarily that light, but I would.
Some of that I don't have anything to do with. I swear.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to go into it right now. But
that I had nothing to do with, and I even publicly I did a stream after that, and I said that there was no evidence to suggest that ever happened.
Well, there wasn't, and there isn't because it never did happen. Anyway, I don't want to go into that because it actually makes me angry to think about that. But and I know you didn't have anything to do with it. But still, the stuff y'all were doing to Beardson and the others, I would argue was pretty light. But Beardson completely changed his whole character. Like he used to play games every day. He used to be playing the hottest releases, etc. Right. Then all of a sudden he stopped. He's like, I don't like video games anymore, which I don't believe, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
you just play. Well, I still love video games. I don't get a chance to play them very often because I'm working so much. But, you know, I'm never going to, like, renounce video gaming. Like, what the fuck? I'd sooner just choke my life out of my own body than do something like that. And, you know, as big a gamer as he was, I know he's the same way. And so this was like a shift on purpose, either because Nick told him to for optical reasons, whatever, or because, you know, you guys are just making fun of him too hard. And there's a lot of them who just, you know, I have a lot of heart for the fight. I have a lot of a joy for the battle typically. Even if I'm like, you know, even if it's a grind, even if it's a tough battle, I love what I do. And, you know, I like being challenged. I like having foes and stuff like that. But a lot of them can't really handle that. And, you know, I've been used to being a target and a focus for years and years. And so maybe that helps, right? I'd already had wave after wave after wave and video after video after video made about me, right? And so, you know, it's like, whatever, bring it, right? What are they going to do? Make another video? Like, okay, who cares? You know, I'm going to make my own shit, right? I'm going to go after them. And so I don't know if it was just I was more steeled for the fight, but you saw a lot of those guys just completely roll over and they wouldn't even mention the casino or anything like that.
Completely.
Yeah. Speaking of, how rattled were they in the background about the casino? Like,
very.
I can imagine they were super rattled.
Very, particularly when it was drawing like 4,000 or 5,000 people. A couple, I think, were even higher than that. And you know, Jaden did his thing over there and all that stuff. And yeah, they were very worried about it and followed it very closely, more closely than I did. Quite frankly, because if I know somebody's talking shit about me, I may watch a couple minutes here or there if I feel like I need to, but I usually don't watch that shit.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I got enough negative things to say about myself, right? I don't need to hear that shit. Now there are exceptions if it's something I really have to see, or if I want to see, you know, how they're going to spin this, or, you know, how they're running with this story. You know, there is an exception here or there, but I know people don't believe this. I usually would never watch much content that was anti-me. Now, what I would do at that time was read a lot of anti-me stuff, like on Kiwi Farms and stuff, because I'm just more, this might shock some people. I've said this before. I'm more of a reader. If I can read something versus watching it, I'm reading it.
Yeah, me too.
Because because it's like I don't want to sit down and watch a fucking 4-hour stream about me, right? Or some hit video about me. It's like if I can read it,
that was never the point of it. First of all, my whole thing, the whole idea was that it would be a symbiosis type of thing, where it would be like it was promotion, and it was okay. This is what's happening. That's fun. This is what's happening. That's interesting. Right. This is what's happening. That's it wasn't supposed to be really negative. It was just supposed to be, well, Ralph had people on. This is what happened. This is funny. This is base. This is whatever, or Ralph fucked it up or whatever. It was never supposed to be like this negative war, ideological warfare. I don't know even where that came from. Me and Squire completely lost control of what was happening after. And that's where a lot of the tension with us and PPP happened and Godwinson and stuff is we had lost complete control over what was happening. And Andy supposedly Andy had got control. I half believe that. I half believe that it was a better grift. It made the pay pigs happier to have like this weird ideological warfare. But that was never the point of it. The point of it was to do a variety show where you cover interesting things and interesting people. It was never supposed to be what it became. And I feel, I don't want to say, I do. I feel a little bit of guilt about my creation of a Frankenstein's monster. And Godwinson never failed every appearance that he'd come back. He never failed to remind me of the Frankenstein monster that I was creating. He never did.
All your fault.
He did say I was creating a Frankenstein monster, and I said, "Well, I'm super close with PPP. We talk every day. I talk to you every day. I think we have control over the situation." And it got completely out of control. It was a humbling experience.
Well, your idea, your thrust of the show sounds a lot more entertaining. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like it has more longevity.
Well, it was a lot more entertaining. Yeah. That's why they were pulling 5,000 viewers. It was like, but it seems still is not sinking in with them that you've lost like 100 viewers every month since I left.
The problem is that they're in like the DSP mode now where they have like 3 or 4 whales that they have to please. And in order to please them, they're just going to do like basically whatever they demand.
But you never hook your wagon to 4 people. Because they're eventually going to get bored of it. Especially if you have no reach anymore. The pay pigs are just going to go on a show with more reach. That's it. So...
Well, I try to make the most entertaining program for the most people, really.
Right.
And that's the way to do it.
Well, that's what.
Yeah, and there's exceptions. You have your base, right? You have, stuff, inside jokes and history of the show. People have been there for years. But in general, you want to broaden the base. You want to make an entertaining program. And of course, I'm going to war with AF, have been the last couple weeks. That's going to continue. But, and for a reason, a good reason, pedophile cult. But,
yes.
I also am very well aware that I run an entertainment program. And if that's all there is every single day, then people are going to stop watching.
Right.
So that's just something you have to stay conscious of. That's why I'm still doing debates and events. Of course, we had the coverage today, so gas today.
Yeah. And I think the reason that probably happened was because it becomes like a mirror image of each other. I think AF also took on that weird stance of like this ideological warfare. Everything is very niche. We could only cover Nick. It only has to be about like these specific things. And it became something about it. It's not about entertaining audiences. It's not about anything. It's like this weird cult mentality of creating like this messaging. And the entire form of entertainment is like this messaging. But it's not really working. It's just alienating people from the platform.
Yeah, you literally have Nick going on stream basically saying he's God and he's wearing the armor Jesus of God Christ. And shit. Yeah. But now today you have the casino basically doing the same shit.
Yeah, well, they become mirror images of each other. I mean, it was it became its own kind of beast. And luckily, I washed my hands of it quite a while ago, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But so,
Yeah.
where do you think it changed? Where do you think Nick Fuentes changed, and it became a cult of personality instead of
Patrick Casey.
Patrick?
Patrick Casey, I think. And you saw the way, and looking back, I kind of thought maybe he was a little disloyal back then. But, now I think Nick Fuentes working for the federal government. I've seen that footage so many times now. I never really watched it. I know people find that hard to believe, and some of my haters don't believe that. But I literally had never watched that January 6th footage where he's saying ignore police orders, where he's saying, tear down the barriers. We're about to take back the people's house, and all this stuff. And so, the more I look at that, and then you look at what happened to Patrick Casey, where he came out and, told people that Nick was under FBI investigation, and they ripped him limb from limb, right? Not literally, but figuratively. And, just excoriated him, ran his name into the ground, and just ostracized him in a very cult-like way. Now, I wasn't really seeing it at the time, but I thought about this a lot recently. And I would argue kind of Patrick Casey in, what was that, February 2021. If you look back, I think that's when it was really clear that it's a cult. And then also, why was he so mad? Right?
I don't know why. I don't know why he was so mad.
Well, why would you be mad though if you're working for the
was
feds?
The most optical. Well, yeah, if you're working for the feds, but Casey was like the most optical, right?
He was the most normal, definitely, compared to all these other clowns that Nick has around him. And he was definitely normal, pretty level-headed. The straight man, kind of like the very unassuming, but then all of a sudden, he needs to die. Like he's a traitor. He lied about us, even though everything he said was 100%
Everything
correct.
he said was 100% correct. Yeah.
And then I remember Nick went on the kill stream, I think, either the night of.
It was that night.
It was lying out of his ass the whole time. Just
it was that night.
Oh, no, it's not true.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not on a no-fly list.
He lied.
Yeah.
He completely lied. He completely lied, like he did on Leafy Stream. He completely lied. Now we know he lied. But he came on, completely lied. I was trying to get Patrick Casey on too. You know me. I was like, all right, let's get it started up. But he wouldn't come on. Now looking back, that was pretty genius. Now, it took him a while to build back. But looking back, that was genius. He just cut ties. He never really talks about that stuff. Of course, I'd still like to, but he's not getting involved in that. And looking back is probably the best thing that could have happened to him. But yeah, Nick comes on. He just lies about everything. And I think that's really a line of demarcation, what they did to Patrick Casey. Now, there were several other people they did this to after, and they tried to do it to me. It didn't work out so well, but I think that's where it kind of got established. Now, there were some smaller people they had done that to before, but such a high up guy to just try to completely ruin this guy. Telling the truth, right?
They did attack him absolutely viciously, and I remember really watching that and thinking to myself, like, why I thought this was Nick's best friend. He was replaced very quickly by Jaden, but I thought this is like Nick's proclaiming he's his best friend, and then a week later, he is like the biggest piece of shit on the planet and needs to be killed, basically. Needs to be scoured from the internet.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was brutal.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
What kind of torta are you having, Ruff? I see that Chad is also curious. I've seen that.
Al Pastor here.
Nice.
And they cook it on a giant spit. The Lebanese brought this to Mexico a long time ago. I think it was another part of Mexico, but they make it all over, and they roast a giant pig, basically. Now they take the head and stuff off, but it's like the torso of a pig, and they just sit there and roast it over and over, and then they cut some meat off and they throw it on the grill a little bit, put a little cheese on it, and I got some onions and cilantro. They actually gave me some pineapple tonight, which they have pineapple sometimes, and it's really good on the torta. So, and some habanero sauce. But yeah, they every once in a while they'll have pineapple, and so they gave me some of that tonight. And they also limes. Limes are really, really, really fucking cheap in Mexico, and they're just like second thought. You just get a whole bag of limes. They don't even care because they're so cheap here, and there's so many limes. Like they don't drink lemonade here, for example. They drink limonade. So, which
that sounds really good to me.
It's really good.
It sounds really
limeade
good.
is
It is really good. Yeah.
I've only been to Mexico once, but the food was phenomenal. Like,
Oh, it's so good.
you can get like lobster tacos that cost like nothing, and they're amazing.
Yeah, ceviche is also excellent. There's so much good stuff here. Now I got on the torta thing. First off, I love tortas. I love sandwiches. But I've lost about 65 pounds, well, almost 66 pounds in the last year now. And for the last, I don't know, what, 4 months, about 3 months, I've been on the strict one torta a day, except for when I travel. Sometimes I'll let up a little bit, and it's been working pretty good.
I mean, you can definitely see it. You've definitely, like, compared to last year, you look like, it's like night and day difference. It's kind of
thank you for saying that. Yeah, you can see my face now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So
you're getting to like the post prison,
I'm getting close.
Like,
you're getting
close.
I'm getting close. I can feel it. I can almost reach out and touch it.
You remember
that's when we're at 2018 levels is when you look like that again.
That's how I feel too. I literally want to get back. I was 186 when I got out of jail, and I'm 211 now. So I'm getting close. I can almost reach out and touch it. When I get under 200, that's when I'll really be happy. Not that I'm going to stop, but that's when I'll really know.
I mean, and that's pretty good for not even doing like a hardcore diet or anything like that,
Yeah, I mean, I would argue, a lot of it's kind of a mixed fast, right? If you just eat once a day.
Yes.
But I still eat. It's a good sandwich with a bunch of meat on it, and all these fixings and stuff, and so it's not like I'm starving myself. But yeah, it's mostly just the one meal a day, and I've done a little bit of walking. But yeah, I've lost about 66 pounds.
Yeah, you can't knock walking either. Walking's really good for you.
Yeah. Now, when I was in jail, I was doing burpees and I was doing all this crazy workout stuff every day, which I need to get back to, but I kind of just been focused on losing the weight before I get hardcore back into the gym and stuff. But feeling better, moving around a lot better, and yeah, it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I'm feeling you there. I remember when we started. That was one of the first crossover things we ever did was punt the gun.
Yeah,
with Josh, and Josh freaked out this pizza day and everything, but we did the crossover, and we were all posting our guts on posting our guns on Twitter and doing the weight loss. I've lost.
Yeah, all you fat fucks did that.
I lost 50 pounds since. Well, Squire doesn't have that problem, but I lost like 50 pounds.
Even though people think I weigh like 400 pounds for some reason, I have no idea why that is.
Well, they think you're Ashton for some reason for a long time. Do you know that?
Well, people thought I was Croc. They thought I was Croc at first.
Well, it just turns out that autists have like complete blindness for like if you're wearing a mask, they have no idea who you are. Sure. They'll just think that you're whoever behind the camera. So.
See, that's what you got to do. You just got to wear a mask, and people are just like, "Oh, well, I guess they're okay."
Who's that? Yeah,
who's that? Goldfish, fucking memory.
Right. I finally finished my torta. It was excellent. So shout out to them.
Shout out to the torta, the guy.
The torta guy.
Yeah.
Taqueria. I think it's Taqueria Michelle or something like that. The name of the place. They also have excellent other food too and guacamole, but I just usually get the torta and. It's easier, I know basically what the calorie, even though it doesn't have it printed on there, you know kind of how many calories you're getting and kind of fits with my diet. So it's been working out good. I love Mexico. And I said this on my show, so it's not a spoiler, but, I want things to work out with my wife and I pray and hope they do. But
I pray and hope they do too, Ralph. I'm with you, brother.
Thank you for saying that. And I think anybody who's talked to me behind the scenes know that that's not a put on. Like it's actually heartbreaking. What's going on with that? But I love my wife to use the catchphrase today, but I really do.
Another coach throwback. Throwback.
Yeah. But and I actually do, and it's tough. But if it doesn't work out, I have no plans to go back to the United States to live, because I don't want to live there. Otherwise, there's no point. So. That's a little dark for some people, but I really have no other reason to be in the United States. I love Mexico. This is the safest part of Mexico by far, one of the safest places in North America, period. Merida, and literal safest city in the country a couple of years ago, or in the continent a couple of years ago. And so it's always the safest city in Mexico, pretty much. But I love it here. I don't speak Spanish. I should work on that for sure if I stay long term. But it doesn't really hinder me in any way, almost. So.
Well, yeah. What, you've been there like a year so far, and you haven't had any issues since you moved there.
Nope.
In terms of like crime or any kind of like weird shit.
Not at all. I've never even seen any crime take place here. Period. And so, I mean, I know that there has been somewhere, but like I've never seen a fight.
Well, the federales don't fucking fuck around. You get arrested, they're gonna beat the shit out of you, and
Oh yeah.
There's some territories where it's a little more up in the air, or the cartels are fighting here and there.
Yeah.
They don't fight here because it's a safe zone. They actually send their own families here.
Yeah.
And the rulers of this place, the top gang here, is the police. And they rule this motherfucker pretty well, and not a good idea to get on their bad side at all.
I mean, you're not near the border. There's no drug muling going through your province. It's all by the border and shit. So
Yep. It's great here. I love it here. And there's really no crime here to speak of. And so, if things don't work out, I don't have any plans to move back to the United States, because it's just so many benefits here. I did get swatted once, but that's never happened again because they're like, okay, we're never coming back here.
Right.
Right. You better call us yourself. They literally said that. And so, that's way better than you would get in America. Right?
That's true. That's true.
They keep coming in the United States.
Dude, I got swatted 10 times in one place. Like, it's like, okay, look, what the fuck? This is an American bureaucracy problem. This is your fucking problem. You shouldn't be running up in my fucking house with guns, right? Like, so that happened once here, and that's it. And, that was because of internet bullshit. And so that had nothing to do with this place. This place is beautiful, and the people are lovely here. Mayan kind of descended, basically, is the dominant ethnic class here in this part of the country. And I love it here. Progreso's 30 minutes north, and Cancun very close by. And
and they don't fuck around in Cancun because it's a tourist destination, so you get fucked up.
Yeah, there's a little more. So it's a bigger. I think it's a little bit bigger in terms of population, and there is a little gunplay there and stuff, but not really. Although some tourists have been caught up here and there, but usually
because tourists are easy marks, But
right. Well, also look, just don't get involved with the wrong element in Cancun. You're not gonna have any problems. And I've never had any problems in Cancun of any sort.
I've heard great things about people who love to go to Cancun every year, and
I love Cancun. Yeah, I've been several times. I love it there. I was in Playa del Carmen, which is very close to Cancun recently, and it's a very nice place. And so, yeah, I love this area, and it is like, and I've been here almost a year. I came last summer for 2 weeks around this time of the year to check it out on my own, and I liked it then, and ended up moving here. Just I was just like, we're selling everything, let's go. Like like it's just so we just didn't have to carry it, like, because I came down here in my truck. The second time I came, so I have my truck down here. It's getting fixed now, but I was like, fuck it. All right, let's do it. And so, some things haven't worked out personally, but I still love this area. And it's a little bit like I can't really be fucked with as easily here. And that does make me happy.
Yeah, I bet.
How many of these Spurgs are actually going to get on a flight and come to Mexico? Not too many. And they're in for a rude awakening if they do. This one guy tried to do that a few months ago. Well, I called my lawyer, and the police ended up paying him a visit. And he got shook. He got shook as fuck. I mean, I have a really good lawyer here. And he called up the police, and that guy got a visit to his hotel. So
oh boy,
I'm not really worried about stuff like that. I mean, can you stamp it out completely? No, but how many motherfuckers are really gonna try to? I mean, people are rolling up to my house and shit. Like, I don't think that's funny or cool. So, I love it here for many different reasons.
The good thing lately is that a lot of people, like, since you kind of left the AF farm, have kind of like taking your side. Even these people like Kinoshé, for example, who was like a very staunch anti-Ralph guy, all of a sudden is now kind of, I'd say more neutral and kind of, even I'd say pro pro Ralph now.
Look, I don't want to speak for anybody, but it has
no, not to speak, but there's been a lot of yeah, which I mean, there's still gonna be people fucking with you, but I think it's a lot, it's a lot more friendlier environment now that you've kind of the weight has come off,
Right.
the
People
AF cloud is
people are happy. A lot of people just freak out when you ban, like people create these vendettas just when you ban them out of a chat. And it's like a lifelong vendetta after you ban them out of a chat. And as soon as you unban them, they're like, okay, it's over. Yeah. It's very strange.
It's kind of crazy how it works. Yeah. Too. And just, I think they wanted something like, I guess the AF stuff was just kind of dragging people down. They kind of just wanted something where it's like kind of they wanted the old kill streak.
They wanted the old kill streak. I was just about to say that.
They were desperate.
They were gonna bully you until you gave.
No, that's what it was. Like literally, that's like 85%, at least 80% of it was they just wanted the old kill streak back. Most of these people.
I'll be honest, that was my original motivation.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted too. Yeah,
I wanted the old kill streak back. I wanted you to do callers again. I wanted you,
well, to open it up again like it used to be. I mean, it used to be like the arena of the sector, basically. And we drew in people from outside the sector too, but like that's what it was. It was the kill stream. And you want to get your shit out there, you go to the kill stream. Right. You want to call in, right? And it was pretty much open to anybody. And that's what made it great.
You want
that's
to
what
scream at somebody else, you call them to the kill stream.
Right. That's what made it a thing. Now I lost sight of that, and for many reasons, you could argue some ego reasons too, and you start having some success, and you think you know it all, and you think these people are out to get you. And in some cases they were, but a lot of it was just me. I take a lot of responsibility for siloing myself off, for siloing the show off, and I thought it's what I needed to do at the time, but looking back with each, retreat back into that silo, you're losing a little something that made the show special in the first place. And it's something that I thought a lot about the past couple of weeks. We still had good shows. It's not like everybody left, but it is almost like, where did things go off the tracks, right? Where did things go wrong here, and how can I get it back? Now, are you gonna be able to make peace with everybody? Are you gonna be able to bring everybody back? No, but right, but you can do a lot of it. You'd be surprised how many you can bring back, just with a few shifts, a few honest conversations, a few honest apologies, and you're kind of right back in it. And people are like, "Oh, the kill stream's back," and and I open it up to a lot more callers and stuff like that. And we've been blessed to have a lot of good content too the last couple weeks, but. I don't know. It's something that I've thought a lot about. It's like, just where did it, kind of get like
where
that?
do you think it? Where do you think it is?
I would say probably Stream.me.
Right.
As great as it was, but I had the ear of the administration. And I was kind of like almost like an executive VP, even though I wasn't given that title, because I had conference calls with the people who ran the site right underneath, like not with the owner, but like with the head of the site, the head admin, the head ad guy, and all this stuff, marketing guy. And I would talk to them all the time.
Right.
And the gut photo and all that stuff came out then, which I really didn't care about, but they started streaming about it 24/7 and like sniping my show 24/7. And on Stream.me, it was like,
well, Stream.me
much smaller platform.
Yeah, for the audience, Stream.me had a leaderboard. And if you were number one slot, you got like $3,000 a week, right?
No, it was $600 a week, and it was about $2,400 a month. And I won that thing every single week I was there. And that was one of their pitches to get me to use the site. They said, "Look, we have this program, and this guy with like 30 viewers is winning it every week because nobody used the site. If you came in, you would immediately win that every week, right? And you would add over $2,000 to your salary every month, just by streaming here." And I was like, "Damn, that sounds pretty good." And so I did that, but I got a little too corporate, maybe, or a little too caught up in, how it was being perceived or what was being done to the show or done to me, and so I started feeling more aggrieved. About things I saw.
Well, there was huge competition for that money because it went all the way up to like the top 20, if I remember right. And there was a payout for each rank.
Like that, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it did. So
that
you
was
know,
like a huge force for people to stream snipe you and stuff because everybody wanted to get more money
Yeah.
from that leaderboard. So there was
But
like major infighting for like the 4th
Yeah.
and 5th slot, 6th and 7th slot, you know. Like
well, and I
that's
kind
how
of got caught up. Well, I was going to say, I kind of got caught up in reprisals against, I mean, not to dismiss anybody, but much lower streamers that I really should have just been ignoring, right? And should have not even played into that. But, you know, I got caught up into reprisals and, oh, you want to fuck with me? Okay, well, I'm going to make a couple calls, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, that reputation is hard to wash off. And that reputation is hard to get rid of once you indulge in that. And I indulged in it. So I would say during the second half or latter half of Stream.me, that's kind of when it went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then with each scandal, with each, you know, run, with each wave of people coming at me, you step one step further back, or you justify one more dirty deed, right? Or one more crooked deal or whatever. And you eventually lose your way. And, you know, it happened to me. And I can definitely see where it happened and, you know, how I started to drift. And, you know, I'm trying to drift back the other way. But, you know, yeah, I would say it was Stream.me.
Good old stream.me.
I love those.
Well, it was a golden era.
Days. Yeah.
It was
a golden era in a lot of ways.
SPCC was there until Fragmenko chased him off. You had who else was all there?
Josh was on there.
Josh was on there.
Dumbass was on there.
Who was
Jim.
that crazy guy? The
that's
like Norwegian or something?
Kitty Styles.
Yeah, Swedish Kitty Styles. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know what's funny is I came over there and he's like, "Welcome to Stream.me," and he was like all friendly and stuff. And this, I was like, "Hey man, thanks, nice to meet you." And then by the end, he was like just a rambling mess.
Yeah,
they were harassing him so bad.
Well, we brought the craziest trolls and the most hardened online combatants basically to Stream.me and just completely took over their community.
Yeah.
And it became the kill stream palace, basically.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah, it did. You chased Narcissa off almost immediately. Narcissa, right, was on there.
She was on. He
was on there, right?
Well, Medicare was on there. There was a ton of people using that site. Worski tried to use it. Now he couldn't draw over there, so he just stopped using it. There's a reason he couldn't draw.
Oh, he had that one karaoke stream on there where he like sang karaoke for like 10 hours and was like completely wasted.
Wild Goose was over there. That's right. Yeah, there was a ton.
Yeah, Wild Goose. Yeah.
There was a ton of people over there, and it was
talent.
But you know, I look back and I got into a fight, into fights with a lot of these people, and it kind of started then. Right. I came in the chat to shit talk somebody else that was in Wild Goose's Discord, and he thought I was talking shit at him. And we haven't really been cool since. And that was a guy. Of course, we had our beefs, Bill Wagner crew, and all that stuff back in the day. But he actually became a friend of mine. One of the few people I talked to while I was in jail, actually. And help my ex-wife run the site and keep my name out there. And a lot of people did that. But you know, it just.
Well, I remember what you described it as when you were on Stream.me. You called it like the prison mentality. You know, everybody was just like
that. It was like being on the cell block because it's like close quarters, right?
Yeah.
And there weren't though there was a lot of
people
there,
getting shanked. You know.
Yes. It was that type of mentality, and it's not like YouTube or even Rumble where, you know, somebody might be fucking with you or sniping you or whatever, but it's a huge site, right? And you don't feel as confined versus there, it's like being on the cell block, right? And it's like, fuck, I can't get away from these people.
Yeah.
And okay, well, what am I gonna do? Well, you know, all right, I'll start doing my own politicking, my own lobbying, and looking back, that was a huge mistake. Because it caused a lot of resentment. Now, I wasn't responsible for this, but the owner ended up getting doxxed, and all of his family got doxxed. And it was because I had kind of brought in that culture, really. And that
we could blame that on Jock.
But I remember a lot of the A-logs blamed Ralph. I remember I was blaming Ralph for it too, because I was like, "Oh, fucking Ralph! Look what he did. He got everyone fucking pissed off." And everything
escalated to like such an insane degree on Stream.me where like you guys are literally getting swatted in Miami. Like They're sending
Yes.
hookers and pizza. Dispatch is literally calling. Andy is sitting in a McDonald's. He's telling them that Andy's screaming nigger and he's a Nazi, and they're calling the police.
All that
It got
happened.
wild.
Yeah, you had
They got
Xander on.
wild.
You made him cry, literally sob.
Oh, I remember that.
He literally
That was
made
such
him
a great
sob.
stream.
Yeah.
And it was just. It
Well, I was
pretty-
vicious too about it. Like I got vicious, and I got that in me, but it should be deployed more judiciously. And I just got too liberal with deploying that. And I still remember that Danish police guy, and he said, I shouldn't have done this, but I don't even know if it's true that his girlfriend died or whatever. But he was talking shit about me, and then I remember, I think it was Zoom or somebody pulled us all on a stream, and I started making fun of him. I started singing "Dust in the Wind" about his.
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember this.
Someone made a meme out of that. That was amazing.
Yeah,
Where you're just like yelling in the background, like "Rest in peace, bitch."
yeah. It was. Looking back, those weren't the best moves, but there's still some funny moments from it. But I was in the mentality of I gotta defeat these people when really it wasn't. I take my fair share of the blame. Let's just put it that way. As far as I shouldn't have responded the way I did. So
a lot of people make that mistake too, where you're kind of just like stomping on someone who's kind of like a defenseless, like
Well,
like
Ralph described it, cell block mentality. Everybody's got to get in line.
It's like they can't stop me, right? It's like the kill stream's unstoppable. There's all these kill stream fans, and I could easily stomp these people out, and I did.
Yeah.
But for each stomp out like that, especially in those situations, you lose a few people.
You lose your audience,
because it's child's play. It's like in Gladiator when he's like killing everyone, they're just getting bored because he's just instantly like one-shotting everyone. They want to see like a battle.
Right, and it's just not sporting, and people see you in a different light when you're like bullying all these smaller streamers and fucking with them. Now they were fucking with me too, but like, I had a bigger audience. It was a disproportionate response, really, and so you start to get that reputation. And like I said, it's hard to get rid of once you get it. So, that was my fault, and you fall into that. So
and I feel like maybe you started to fall. You fell back into that kind of hard when you got back on Cozy, because I felt like you chilled out on D Live, and then once you got on Cozy, it was cell block mentality again, and anybody and everybody was going to get fucked up if they, because you're the biggest streamer. You're basically the only one even pulling an audience. You have that politically provoked bitch who's just like, I would consider her like a punching bag, right?
I mean, to be honest, everyone.
They're all punching bags.
Even Beardson. Beardson's a paper tiger. Like if someone from the outside comes out and starts mocking him, he just completely like freezes.
He shuts
up.
Down, which is surprising.
He's not used to it.
That was surprising.
Well, he's used to being a bully. He's not used to getting bullied. That's his problem, But other than that, like, there's no one really on Cozy that I would say is like a formidable adversary to anyone. Not even Nick, to be honest. In some ways, Nick is a bitch.
Well,
he won't even go on stream. So, and, like, face.
Yeah, let's get into the last segment because that's by design, right? So Nick has all of these people, and they're meant to be basically like prison bitches. They got their pockets out. They're gonna bend over. They got to put the mop wig on at any moment for Nick. You got to bend over. And this is the mentality that Nick kind of perpetuates because he's Jesus Christ, right? He's the only one that can save you.
The dear leader.
The dear leader, yeah. Josh also does this, but we're not going to go into Josh.
No, please don't. Go ahead. But yeah, it became like that. And you see, and I'll just say real quick before I'll let you finish your preamble there. But you see Brittany and them like giving him $500 and all that shit. I never gave the motherfucker. He ought to be paying me, like you said. I never gave him any money.
Now she is the only streamer. She's paying him to be the only streamer on his site. How does that make any sense?
I don't know, but I remember the A-logs at the time were trying to like troll me into giving him some money, and I was sitting there thinking, I'm never giving this fucker any money. Like, I don't know.
Would you give him any money?
Yeah, I don't know. They're like, Ralph, you haven't kicked up your half to him. I'm like, I'm not kicking up anything to this fucker.
Yeah, what do you think this is?
Well, looking back, I think I got some heat over that.
You
I even
did.
saw him mention on air, like, well, these guys complain and so and so doesn't give me money. I was like,
Well, is it
well, you know
true?
what? I'm carrying your fucking website, you fucking bitch. But and then what they did to Baked, I'm taking notes. I'm like, okay, if they'll do that to Baked, what will they do to me? And then sure enough, they tried it. So
It's literally like the Lord of a Manor getting tribute from the serfs,
Yeah.
like just straight up.
Now, did he actually? I know he was trying to intimidate Baked and Lulz into giving him a cut of Power Chat. Did that ever happen?
Well, so I said that on the air today. I don't know. I know that there was discussions, and I think maybe it did happen. I just never followed up on it. But he was supposed to get 5% or something like that from the cozy streamers only, right? So somebody repeated this earlier in my chat, and they were like, 5% of all Power Chat. No, that's not what I said. It was supposedly supposed to be 5% of the cozy take. Now, I don't know if that was ever finalized, but he called Baked Alaska when I was at his house, and he was like, fuck Baked and this and that. He had sent Baked a text like, fuck you. No, people didn't know this until I talked about it. But yeah, that absolutely happened. And he almost ostracized Baked last summer. And, Baked was trying anything and everything he could do to, keep the friendship, keep the connection.
Why is Baked now? Baked kind of made Nick Fuentes' early career because Baked was big back then, and I'm pretty sure Baked even had Nick on. He had like a pilot for MTV where he went around and interviewed people on the street, and he literally had Nick with him interviewing people on the street. So when did that dynamic? So that dynamic completely changed to Baked almost being completely subservient to Nick, and I'm kind of curious about that.
Well, I mean, I guess that was my first signal on that. And then Bake's just, he's kind of trying to be a loyal guy or whatever. But Nick's the type of person, the more you give him, the more he'll take advantage, right?
Right.
And if he thinks he has something over you or some type of pull over you, he'll keep going back to the well, and it'll, he's taking more and more water each time out of your well, basically. And he's just that kind of guy. I mean, I would argue that's kind of when I first noticed it last summer. And then Baked went to jail, and Nick had like laughed at him and didn't write him, and Beardson didn't write him. A bunch of these people didn't write him. I didn't write him either. I've written him since he's been in jail this time. And I even apologized. When he got out, I apologized to him. I was like, man, I was so fucked up and I was in a bad place and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
But none of them did. They all were like indignant about it, right? And just like, fuck you and holy shit, get over it. And it's like, this motherfucker was in federal prison, in solitary confinement, which I didn't even know till later. And, I've been to jail. So the catchphrase there too. But I've been to jail and I know exactly what it's like to be in jail and to be separated from everyone you love. And, I compare it to being on another planet because you're still alive, you're still human, life's still going on, but you're in there separated from it. And when you're in jail, people forget. And people who you thought were going to write you, they don't write you. And you get some surprises too with people who do write you. And I understand being hurt by that perfectly well. And so Baked came out of jail and he had some grievances and they went unanswered because that's how Nick Fuentes is. He's a faggot. And he went on Big Tech's show and said a few things. I think about Ali Alexander and a couple other things. And Nick just like took that as a complete betrayal. And he came on my show actually. This was in May.
Yes, I
and if you
remember.
listen, and if you listen to it, I'm like, hey, you guys will probably wake up. Like, this will probably be patched up, right? One day. And then he's just like very coldly was like, no, I don't think so. And I was sitting there thinking, like, what? And I'm kind of trying to lobby for Baked a little bit, but also not make it obvious.
Right.
And try to ease up the heat. And if you notice, I never participated in any anti-Baked stuff and just steadfastly ignored that. But after that stream, he went on his show, Nick did, and said, well, maybe I would accept a North Korea style apology from Baked or whatever. And then Baked went on his show and basically gave a North Korea style apology, but it was honest, right? Like, I almost say it was groveling or anything, but it was very thorough and very heartfelt. And Nick just coldly threw that to the side too and had all his minions attack him, and faggots like Black Swan and Harris Walker like deleted his Telegram chat, and I paid attention to all that. Because
why do you think they did that? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I shit a lot on Baked.
Yeah,
You know,
I think a lot of people did.
I think Bake got really out of control with the IRL content and like just macing people on the street. I think that was probably.
Well, I think he feels that way too now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think he realizes now maybe that was a little over the line to provoke people, so you could mace them on the street.
But I mean, you know what? He's doing the time for it now. So,
Yeah, well,
he's that's his penance. You know, like,
well, Squire knows.
can't shit on the guy.
I'm a big believer in forgiveness. You know, I mean, he's done some time now, and now.
I mean, come on, but, you know, even though Baked has maced people, he's done some amazing content these past. Few years. Like the RV streams were great,
especially the first one.
Yeah, and you know, I think Baked feels that way too. I don't speak for him, of course. I hope to have him on when he gets out, but I don't speak for him. But I think he feels the same way, and he's gotten into his faith, and seems to take that pretty seriously. And I think that was intimidating to some of these people too, because he was actually out there being more Christian-like, right, and being more like, "Look, I don't want to be this guy. And this is not compatible with my faith," and it wasn't. Right? Like,
no, it wasn't. It was not.
Well, that and he didn't do what Beardson did. He never leaned into this weird incel shit. Like he's never said.
No, well, who's gonna
he's
do
always
that?
picking up bitches on his streams. You know, he's always having women around him.
Well, why wouldn't you have women around you? Don't you think that's nuts?
Well, why do you get into this?
You're a young guy in your 20s. I mean, Nick is a fairly he's a normal looking guy. He's obviously like obsessed with his appearance. Why wouldn't you have bitches around?
Well, if you're gay.
Yeah, well, even if you're gay, though, I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, how this
well,
is
I would
crazy.
argue even if you're gay, I mean, you probably have more bitches around than they do.
Well, even gay guys have bitches around.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, believe it or not, Ralph, I've had girlfriends and stuff. I won't go into my whole personal experience with that. But, you know, I don't have any problem with women in that way. I mean, if you put a woman in front of me, you put her in my bed, there'd be no problem there. I just have, you know, women.
Certain preferences.
It's not even certain preferences. It's just that women are fucking nuts. And when they find out that you've been with a man, it becomes like the entire revolving thing of the relationship. And it's just like, well, I'm fucking you. There's obviously no issue here. Okay, there's no issue there. So just calm down. But they get like all these ideas in their head. They're like, oh, am I manly or am I this or am I that? My family can't know. And I'm just like, you know, after the last time, you know, it got real serious. And then it was like, oh, my family can't know. And I was just like, all right, I can't deal with this shit. You know, I just, I got a little burnt out on it. I don't know if if I ever meet the right girl, I mean, there's no problems there. I won't say, you know. Sure. So I'm really, you know, but when people hear I'm bisexual, they think like, oh my God, you're a complete deviant. It's just like, well, I just want to be with somebody. That's all. I'm not asking for anything special here, you know, but you can't really, especially these day and age. I mean, people are like convinced you're nuts. You're like out of your mind. That's
well, at least you're not an incel, buddy.
Yeah. Well, it's almost as bad. The whole gay community is almost as bad with the military gays and
the military gays.
Yeah. Well, it's like almost like a militant kind of mentality where it's like we have to fight.
Militant gays.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's like we got
to fight the oppression. What kind of gay is Nick then?
Well, he's the LARPing fag where, you know, their whole fucking thing is we're really straight guys. You encounter this a lot in the gay community that the guys will absolutely, you could fuck them in the ass. Okay, not to be graphic, but you could fuck them in the ass.
Too late.
And they will insist that they're straight. I'm not even kidding you. They will insist that they're straight. They're not gay. That it was just a thing that happened. They're not gay. It's like this big LARP. And then it's like, oh, I'm a straight guy, though. You're not straight, bro. You just got fucked in the ass. There's nothing straight about you. I mean, we could live with it, you know. I don't know how long you can have this LARP going on, but there's nothing straight about it. But I've encountered it a million times where there's like this weird counterculture. I'm somewhere in like a limbo out in fucking the phantasm, the fucking void where I'm just like, I just want to date one person and have a normal relationship with somebody. I don't really give a fuck about all the politics of it. But either like there's this weird LARP where they're like putting on Nazi uniforms and fucking each other, and they have this whole LARP. You see it with furries too, where like furries they'll have a fursuit on and they'll fuck each other in fursuits, and then they'll put a literal like Nazi uniform on over the fursuit. It's like, well, I don't know. It's some kind of fetishism, but that's what's going on there. I'm pretty sure if I were to take my guess, if I were to take my stab at it, it's like a weird fetish thing where like Nick is having like these literal femboys with painted fingernails and like these outfits like run around and they all pretend they're straight and they're all fucking each other. It's
well, that's the weird thing. Why is there so many like openly or ex-gays in America first?
Well, because
like in Nick's inner circle, like that's really, to me, it's kind of like, well, you know, there's something there when all these guys end up being, you know, fags.
Well, I've been saying it for years. Ralph, you're not aware, but I would fight with Godwinson. Squire's aware. I would fight with Godwinson and PPP about this like for hours. And we'd go back and forth with each other because they really believe the incel thing is real. I don't believe it's real. I don't believe that there are like young men in their 20s who are so they won't have sex. That's like, I don't think that makes any sense. Does that make any sense to you?
No.
I mean, I was 20 a long time ago now, but
yeah, very few people are incel by choice. I mean,
right? Yeah,
retarded.
I mean, it's just retarded.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't
who would be right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, and you know, I mean, in limited basis, yeah, I guess there are some, but
well, yeah,
no, in general, no, right? Like, and you know, these people who adopt incel as a way of life got something else wrong with them, either. Or they're trying to hide something. Maybe they're not comfortable with being gay, like you said.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they just have no ability to talk to women. And so they just retreat into that as an identity, which you know, I can understand it. You know, I wasn't always great with women, and I've had my problems even since.
Yeah, but nobody starts out being good with women.
Right, you don't start. You're not supposed to start out good with women. I mean, you know, I guess there's a rare example here and there. You know, the star quarterback or whatever. But like, you know, it's a grind for most dudes out
for
there.
most average looking guys, it's a grind.
Yeah.
You got to try and try and try and try and work them until they finally like surrender. You know, it's like the thrill of the chase. You know,
right?
I mean, and it's a game that you learn. It's a game that you learn as you get older and you get a confidence. That's normal.
Well, I remember being younger and being afraid to approach women. Or hit them up or whatever because you're afraid of the rejection. Yeah. And so, but once you get over that, it's like, well, there's a lot of bitches out there, right? Like, I mean, okay, it didn't work out, or okay, it fell apart, or it never started.
Right.
Okay, we'll just go to somebody else or work on something else. You know, I guess, and I won't get too meta, but you know, I miss my wife. I think everybody knows that. But I guess in some ways this has been valuable, no matter which way it goes, and hopefully it goes positive. But you know, I've been with somebody since I was like 27, 28 years old for like a decade. I've had a relationship like immediately. And even in between relationships, like a couple months and then bam, like I'm right back into something else. And a 4.5 year long relationship, live-in relationship with a girlfriend, another 4.5 year long relationship and an ex-wife, and you know, dalliances and entanglements after that, and then you know, like you know, 3 years with my currently estranged wife and stuff like that. So I guess that's more like over a decade, right?
Yeah, that's over a decade.
So you know, you just get used to having a partner and you know, having that person around that that female's touch, right? The woman's touch, and you know, it's something that you just get so reliant on, and so I do think no matter which way it goes, that it's probably been good for me in certain ways. to have to be alone with myself and to have to adjust some things and think about some things that I probably wouldn't have to do if she was here. And so I see the value in it, even though it's been one of the hardest things in my life. So.
Well, someone in the chat just said some of these groypers could use Ralph's experience, and that's true. You know, like a lot of these guys, like literally, once they like the anime Ritus is a good example. Once he got laid, he completely evened out and was completely done with AF. And then Nick did like a 4-hour stream, like chastising him.
Well, I've got a lot of good advice because I got a lot of failures. And so, you know, and I was saying this on my show the other day. It's like one of the things I've learned is, you know, I got into a real habit of never apologizing first and not apologizing very often ever, but always making my girlfriend or wife or, you know, what have you, come to me first if we have some kind of discord or some kind of falling out, or we're not talking or whatever. They would always have to make the first move, and I would see making the first move basically as taking an L or surrendering some type of control, which it is kind of, but you can't. You shouldn't be like that.
And you know what? They resent that shit. They resent it, and they never forget. Women never fucking forget.
They never forget.
They'll never. They never forget it. And then they get pissed and they build up that resentment and they won't say anything. They'll always wait and wait and wait until it explodes. Yeah.
And then they have all kinds of grievances, and it's like, and
like, why didn't you say it? Yeah, and it's like, why didn't you say that when it was a problem? And they always get pissed, and they'll hold that resentment against you because they had to wait. But a woman will never say anything. That's always a mistake guys make. Women will never ever tell you what the problem is. You have to fucking poke and prod them, and you're constantly finding yourself apologizing for things that you didn't even do wrong. But I don't know. That seems to be part of like this. That's what they want for whatever reason. That's what they want.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking about my relationships in my life, and a lot of that shit wouldn't be the way it is, or wouldn't have turned out the way it did if I had just even half of the time made the first move on reconciling things and not built up that resentment, because you do that for years and it builds up, and it's like, this guy never, you know, he always makes me apologize, and he always makes me do this and that, and it starts to become a resentful relationship rather than a collaborative, you know, loving relationship. And so, you know, that was one of the things that I've learned and been trying to work on myself, because it doesn't take anything to apologize, really. Right? And I'm not saying give fake apologies, but I mean, it's not really that big a deal, particularly if it's somebody you love, right? And just apologize. Just make the first move. Like, it's not even, it's no skin off your nose. Like, you can help yourself a lot just by taking that advice right there, and not holding out apologies as some type of holy grail that you never want to give because it'll weaken yourself or make you look weak. And you know, I was caught up into that my whole life, really, and shouldn't have been. So,
well, it's growing up, Ralph. You know,
we learn
we learn this stuff as we get older. Well, you know, guys, you know, in your 20s, you're still like in that kid mentality almost. You like, I noticed after I turned 30, it was like you start like actually growing up, getting like a maturity. It takes a while. It takes a long time to.
Well, you know, I actively fought against growing up.
Yeah, well, so you fight it because you don't want to feel old. You don't want to grow up. I get it completely.
And they talk about arrested development or whatever, but you know, I arrested it on purpose. And it's like, I want to keep that mentality of you know, 19-year-old or whatever, and just live my life that way. And you know, news alert, you can't live your life as a 19-year-old. And if you do, you're gonna have a lot of problems. And I've had a lot of problems for that reason. And you know, it's taken me a while to get there. And you know, of course, I had a pretty well publicized relapse there, you know, earlier this month, and you know, that was sad because I had a great run going and I was putting things back together, and I squandered all that. So it's not like I have it all figured out. I don't want to sit here and act like you know, the Dalai Lama or something, or you know, but you know, I do think that I've figured a lot of things out, and still a work in progress, but these are a lot of things that I never would have even faced or thought about really, if I wasn't dealing with that relationship adversity and trying to build that back. So I take it as a blessing, no matter how it turns out. Of course, it'll be a nasty. Not that I'm going to go after her or anything like that. I'm never going to do that. But it would be a nasty blow to my, just to my psyche for sure, to lose my family and my wife. But I'm trying to keep a positive mind about it, even if that does happen, and trying to
Right.
use that to build myself up.
Well,
So
it's a process, right? I mean, you got to fall down, and to learn to walk, you got to fall. And a lot of people don't understand that. You can't learn how to do something unless you fail at it 100 times. You got to you'll fall on your ass 100 times, and eventually you stop falling. We all had to learn that when we were toddlers. You fall on your ass, you keep falling on your ass until you could walk, and then you could run. It's a whole process. And then once you get past that, then you could run, and then you could, it's a whole process. And we're always, I don't think people realize that you're still growing up in your 30s. You're always growing up. You're always maturing. You're always growing up. We're always learning. And I think that's the lesson of it all, right?
Yeah, I do too. And, I've talked about this on my own show, but, believe me, I'm disappointed in myself. Not with my current professional run, but with my personal life and how I let that go, basically. And, I can't blame anybody but myself. I could sit here and tell you so-and-so was baiting me and using my daughter and doing all this stuff, and it's true. But, you have to just have faith in yourself, have faith in your wife, in your life. And, I let that go and lost sight of things for a minute. And for me, it doesn't take much, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can just lose focus for a day or two and it's bad.
Yeah.
And I'm that type of person. I don't really go halfway with a lot of things. And so, I'm that type of person that once I'm in the quicksand, I'm there. And
Yeah.
it may be a while. Luckily, it was only a couple weeks this time, but I've had, earlier this year, a few months, right? And other periods where it's just like, I just completely lost all composure, didn't want to feel anything, and made it where I didn't have to. And so that's something that I recognize in myself. And you just gotta keep guard and pick yourself back up, right?
Right.
Just get back up, get back out there. Don't you can be sad, you can be remorseful, you can be you can long for the things that you've lost, but you kind of have to, it's life. Life is hard, very
Life
hard.
is
And I lost,
hard, and you got to learn patience. Patience is always the hardest one to get down, because everybody wants things to go their way right away, right? You want what you want it now. And as an adult, you got to learn it takes a long time to build up to what you want. And that's probably one of the hardest things, I think, for people, is having that patience.
yeah, and and it's hard for me too because I'm not a very patient person. And in all reality, I've only been separated from my wife for 3 months, and people have been separated for 6 months, year,
A
2 years.
year, 2 years.
Yeah, before they get it back together, and maybe they get back together even
Yeah.
at
Some
the end of
people
it.
even get a divorce and then they get back. They get
Sure,
married again.
right. You can't just lose all hope and composure, and it's something that I have to tell myself, and I even say it out loud and even publicly on things like this, where when the lights are off and I'm back there and I want my wife, right? I want my
Yeah.
wife back, and I can definitely get really sad about it. But you just can't let it get there. You just have to maintain that focus, and also remember, in the grand scheme of things, it really hasn't been that long. And I've had some falls, yeah, for sure, but it really hasn't been that long.
Right.
And you don't really know how things are going to turn out.
You
And
never
tomorrow
know.
is another day.
What's 3 years in the span of your lifetime? It's a blip.
Right. That's right.
And
And
it's hard to come to that realization sometimes, because a week sometimes can feel like a year. And
Well, and if
I'm
it's something
sympathetic
you know,
with that.
yeah, and I talked about this. You know, some of the groypers are like, "Oh, Ralph's begging for his wife back, or he wants his family." It's like, yeah. First off, not begging, but second off, yeah. I mean, I want my wife back. Yes, I've talked about it publicly. Yes, I miss her. Yes, she's a great woman, and I love my family. And you wouldn't really understand it unless you lost your family. And I hope that doesn't happen even to the faggots because it's a brutal blow and it's very hard. And you saw how Ye / Kanye West, formerly known as, was acting. I talked about this on my show today. I didn't really understand it until it happened to me, and then I completely understood it.
Yeah.
Because there is almost nothing I wouldn't do to put things back together, right? Or to get it back on track, or I want my family back. I completely understand all that now, but unless you've had and lost, you really don't. So
Yeah.
I don't wish it on anybody, but it definitely puts things into perspective.
Very wholesome message, Ralph, to wrap up on. And just remember,
Well, thank
brother,
you.
one day at a time. One day at a time, and that's
right.
always the hardest.
It's the hardest because, like you mentioned, patience, and I said, I'm not that patient, but
patience is the greatest virtue, Ralph.
It really
Patience.
is. I should think that was like a meme saying, basically, but it actually isn't.
True.
There's a lot of value in that, and I couldn't tell you how much shit I've ruined or made worse just by not being patient in every facet of my life, from driving to anything, right? And it's something that you can do. I won't say easily, but with practice, it can get to become a habit. And it's something you might have to tell yourself, particularly if you're naturally impatient like me. But it really is.
Well,
It really is the
I
greatest
can't
virtue.
even say in relationships I have fucked myself over so many times because I didn't have any patience or things weren't going the way I wanted to at the time. And you do stupid shit just to get rid of it. Then you always regret it. Like, I don't know. I had one where I really regretted it. But I couldn't be patient. I just wanted what I wanted right now. And that was what I wanted. And I fucked it completely. And I'll always regret that. I have one of those. I have a few of those, where you just fuck up something that's going really good because you just can't keep it together. You just want what you want right now, and you don't want to wait.
Yeah, or you think things are going worse than they are, and you end up making things worse with a choice that you make, it's happened to me many times.
Or somebody's available when you're waiting for and then you fuck it up completely.
Yes.
You just completely fuck it up in a moment of,
Well, even what happened to me this past, earlier this month or whatever, it was like things are actually going pretty good.
Yeah.
And, you don't have what you want. You don't have your family back, or you're not doing what you're doing for the right reasons, the sobriety and stuff like that. And so it doesn't fully take hold, right? Even though I've been sober for almost 70 days, it was like, well, I wasn't doing it for me. And I know that's like a cheap saying too, but it's actually true. You have to do it for yourself and not to try to like get something back or convince somebody or this or that, because once you fall back down into those bad feelings again, you'll step out of pocket. And it happened to me. It can happen to anybody, but you just gotta keep your maintain frame, I guess, to use the phrase. So.
Keep your cool, be patient. And this is a lesson for all the groypers. You can't stay 20 years old forever. You're getting older every year. You're getting older every second, every minute, every hour. You're getting older, and you need to learn, and you need to grow up. You can't stay 18 forever. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or else
you don't want to be like Teddy. You don't want to be like Teddy Feezer.
Yeah, you don't want to
be No phasing. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a good place to leave it. But I it's something that I've learned the hard way. So I do like I feel like I've taught some lessons on my show, both like through good acts and bad acts, but through the second acts too, right? Through the returns, through the pick up from this, or your mom died and you keep going. And I had a divorce before, and she was my collaborative partner then too. And I wanted to go away, right? I didn't want to face all that. I knew what it was going to be. But you just have to face it. And particularly if you want to be in this business, this is not for the
Faint of heart. Yeah.
I was looking for that phrase. That's exactly right. It's not for the faint of heart,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of great things about it, and I love it. But there's a lot of hard things about it too. And if you want to be a public figure, if you want to be in this business, it's probably going to be tough. And you might as well plan on being tough. So I've had some stumbles, but I've had some great pickups as well. So it's been a lot of fun the last couple weeks. I feel like I feel like I'm back to the old show really, and I'm gonna continue trying to do that. So it's been a pleasure. It's been great having you guys be a part of it. So and I thank you for having me on here tonight.
Yes, it's been a pleasure, Ralph.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ralph. It's been great.
It's been great. Great interview too. I think this is very wholesome. I like people to see you as like the real guy. It's good to break character every once in a while. Be just a real guy. I think
sometimes I'll let my guard down here and there on my show, but
yeah.
I don't usually talk this in depth about it really. And it's funny you mentioned that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was talking to Julian. He was running Odyssey, and he's like, you should make people. They've dehumanized you basically, and so they don't even really see you as a person.
No,
a lot of these people attacking you. And I was like, well, yeah, no. Like, what do you do about that, right? And he's like, well, show them you as a person, basically.
Yeah. Remind them you're a human being. Yes.
Right. And it's hard. It's hard to do, but it's necessary, and I think it's very rewarding too. So I thank you guys for having me on here tonight.
I thank you, Ralph, for coming on.
Thank you, Ralph. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very kindly, and I look forward to more adventures.
Yes,
as we continue in the second half of the year. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Ralph. Take it easy.
All right, you have a good one, Squire. Thank you, Perspicacity.
Thank you.
Yep. See ya.
Any final words, Squire, for the audience before we wrap this up?
I mean, that was a great interview. I honestly wish we could go over more stuff, but Ralph only had a little bit of time to give us tonight. Like, I definitely think more of these.
Kept him way longer. I kept him way longer than I was supposed to.
It's supposed to be an hour.
I can't complain.
I mean, I'd love to hear more because I'm curious to know, like, some other things, like, some Gamergate lore and some other, shit.
Well, I'd love, Ralph, I'd love to have you back on. We've powwowed for many years in the background that we wanted to do an interview with you about various things. And,
a certain individual that we used to be acquainted with really wanted to do this interview. Well, sadly,
used to be acquainted with. We're still acquainted with him. He's just, I don't know.
Oh no, I'm not talking about Adam. I'm talking about the other.
Oh yeah, Ashton. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's probably never gonna happen.
No, sadly. Also,
I love him.
Pray for Coach.
Pray for Coach.
Chat, pray for Coach tonight. Light a candle, whatever you got to do. Hopefully, we'll hear from Coach within 12 hours? He said.
Yeah, in the morning.
6. It's already been 6, so hopefully, we'll hear from him soon.
Yeah, probably in the wee hours of the morning. I'll keep an eye out. I appreciate.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it did kind of drift, but you know what? Good interviews always do drift into other things.
I appreciate everybody. Everything always drifts with me. Listen, we're in the Persit zone. I appreciate everybody coming out to watch. I think we had almost 400 viewers at the peak. It's fallen off, but it's pretty late.
It's not bad. Well, it is late, yeah. I mean, we did kind of go a little late.
I appreciate everybody coming out. I appreciate everybody fighting in the chat and having fun. And hopefully you'll join me next time on our next adventure, probably over the weekend.
Yeah, what are we going to... Oh, I mean, who knows what the next show is going to be.
Who knows?
There's so much shit going on. I mean, how a coach might literally just invade the Ukraine from Hungary and just, like, decapitate Zelensky or some crazy shit. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah,
but
who knows?
It's been fun. It's been a crazy day, and you know what it means. When the Monday's crazy, that means the whole week is.
The whole week is going to be nuts. So keep an eye out, keep an ear out. Believe. Yeah. I want to believe. Believe.
Watch the skies.
Watch
Trust
the
no
skies,
one.
and trust no one. Good night, guys.
Jews.
Cheers.